Let's talk about underperforming civil servants, because an awful lot of them exist. An awful lot of them are being paid by you and me, and we don't seem to get rid of a lot of them. We just kind of move them to another job. Well, government said they're going to tackle that, and they're basically going to pay people to leave their jobs, a la Elon Musk and Doge in the United States. Let's talk about this with William Yarwood. He's from Taxpayers Alliance. Very good morning to you.
Morning, Julia.
Thanks for joining us. Well, I mean, this sounds all well and good. A, will it ever happen? And B, will it end up costing us more than it saves?
Yeah, quite. So I suppose I should do a bit of praise first. It's good that the government is actually talking about this because previous governments have talked about it but not actually done anything about it. I think the last Conservative government wanted to reduce the size of the civil service by about 12%, but as with most things they didn't actually follow through with it or do anything. Yeah. So the fact that Labour wants to do this at the beginning of their tenure in power is quite interesting. But to talk about whether they're actually going to go through with it and whether it is radical, because McFadden said yesterday that it was a highly radical policy. Do you know how much they're actually going to try and reduce the civil service by?
Oh, God, don't.
It's about 2%, which is not that much.
I mean, it's virtually a revolution. I mean, isn't
right.
that they'd lose more than that just simply by not replacing people who retired or resigned.
Yeah, quite. And also they're talking about senior management. Let's talk about middle management. I remember the last time I was on your show, Julia, and we talked about middle management doubling over the last 10 years. Yeah. I mean, why not get rid of a bunch of them? Why not start with EDI staff inside of the civil service? Why not just clear out or do what Elon has done over in the US and actually ask civil servants, what have you done this week? Ask them each line by line, what have they done this week? And if they can't answer in a straight sentence, fire them.
I know. If all you've done is attend Zoom meetings this week from home, I'm not sure that you are not surplus to requirements.
Yeah, quite. And there's lots of problems with our civil service, including a sick note culture. Yeah. You mentioned about attending Zoom meetings. Did you know that actually in the civil service, we found this at the Taxpayers Alliance, over 2,500 years, have been lost in the civil service due to sick leave. And do you know what the biggest cause of this is, Julie? Do you know what the biggest cause? Anxiety. Anxiety. Because obviously it's really anxious to, spend 3 days working from home, attend Zoom meetings, sit on gold-plated public pensions, which are going to bankrupt the country in a few years' time. I mean, it's a really anxious job. But yeah, look, we're going to have to see what McFadden says later today.
That's Pat McFadden. He's basically the Prime Minister's right-hand man. He's the get-it-done man. Hey, look, I have got to be honest with you, he's got a very ruthless streak, which I rather admire in him. I like a little bit more ruthlessness in government. But do you believe they're actually going to go against this? Because it's like when they're talking about benefit cuts as well and tackling, sickness benefits. And again, a lot of the problems of people. I mean, so Julia was off sick 2 days last week, but I was actually bedridden and ill, didn't have a voice. There was a reason I couldn't work, the particular job that I've got. But there does seem to me to be, they talk about benefits cuts, and then you've got 80 MPs going, oh, we don't like this, we don't want to cut benefits. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to cut benefits for people who are disabled and really, really need the benefits and need to have the heating on because, they're bedridden and things. But I do definitely 100% want to strip every single penny from people who could be working and aren't.
Yeah, quite, and that's exactly correct, Julia. And actually, the interesting thing is those people who are actually fleecing the system are taking money away from the very people that you just talked about. The disabled, people who are elderly, people who are, through no fault of their own, have ended up in the situations that they're in. And I really feel for them because actually they're being done in by a system which people are gaming. I mean, on TikTok alone, there's these things called sickfluencers where they show people how to get round the system and which words to use. It's pretty disgusting, to be honest with you, Julia, because actually it's not just making a mockery of the system, it's making a mockery of people who are genuinely disabled and genuinely...
absolutely. I mean, and it's criminal. I mean, it is fraud. People talk about, there's a low level of fraud. No, that is fraud. That is lying. If you told a similar lie to your insurer and you were making an insurance claim, you'd be prosecuted for it, and quite rightly. Yeah, if you mention the word suicide, that's it, game over, you're definitely going to get your sickness benefits, which is just absolutely appalling. It really is. Can I just ask you, just finally, very briefly, also about specifically the BBC, because again, we do pay their wages. Fascinating report today. It's emerged that lesbian, gay, bisexual and trans, ethnic minority, disabled and female senior managers earn more money than those from other backgrounds, i.e. if you're a straight white man, you earn now less on average than someone who ticks any of the, quote, diversity boxes. Now, I know we're all for, equaling things out and everything. If people were getting paid less, Historically, that's not a good thing. But now people are being paid more because they're diversity hires. I mean, how on earth does this insanity come about?
Well, it comes about because of how embedded EDI is in the BBC and across the public sector, Julia. And actually, what you've revealed there is actually shown what EDI is all about. It's not about actually equalising things or making things more diverse. It's actually just because of it's just to remove straight white men from positions of power or from certain positions and make sure they're paid less. Really, it's completely and utterly anti-meritocratic. And like you said, licence fee payers are paying for this. I mean, the BBC is a bit stretched for money at the moment. They're sending out record numbers of licence fee letters in order to get people to cough up, and even threatening to charge people who watch Sky or Netflix to pay their licence fee in order to try and plug their gaps. But quite frankly, the BBC is an absolute mess. The BBC licence fee needs to go, and every single EDI scheme inside the BBC needs to go also, because things should be rewarded on merit. Things should be rewarded on how good you are at the job, not if you're an ethnic minority or disabled.
But also, even they've got quotas. I mean, again, I'd never want to get a job as a woman. It's the only category I fit is woman. I would never want to get a job because I fulfilled that quota. It's so offensive and demeaning. It really is. So appreciate you joining us at William Yarwood, fighting the good fight with the Taxpayers Alliance there.